Hey folks, happy Thursday. We continue our FUMCCV devotional and for today, Thursday, January 20th. And the prompt on this day has a sort of classical Methodist understanding of spirituality and what we produce in our lives. So on one side of the equation is works of piety. Works of piety are our devotion to God. So prayer and worship and fasting and study and those sorts of things. So growing our relationship with God. And then the second one on the other side of the equation is works of mercy. So sharing God's love and grace with others. And so these two pieces, works of piety, works of mercy. And there's 4 different scriptures today. We're all over the New Testament. The first one is Romans chapter 12, verse 6. So Romans chapter 12. Romans is in the New Testament: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Romans. Romans chapter 12, verse 6. We have gifts that differ according to the grace given to us. We have gifts that differ according to the grace given to us. And so the gifts that you have for works of piety might be different than mine, and the gifts that you have for works of mercy might be different than mine, but we've all been given these kinds of gifts. All right, and the next one is 1 Peter. That's all the way almost to the very end of the New Testament. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10. 1 Peter 4:10. Like good stewards of the manifold grace of God, serve one another with whatever gift each of you has received. So like good stewards of the manifold grace of God, serve one another with whatever gift each of you has received. A steward is a caretaker. So this scripture assumes that we have been given grace, and like a good caretaker of that grace, what we should do is we should serve one another with whatever forms of the gifts that we have received. That your job is not to have particular kinds of gifts. Your job is to use the gifts in service of others that God has blessed you with. All right, then Ephesians, so a few pages earlier in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 7. Ephesians 4:7. But each of us was given grace according to the measure of Christ's gift. So we have Christ's gift within us, and that is these forms of grace that we're invited to exercise. And then Hebrews, so go farther back in the New Testament, just, 5-10 pages maybe. Get to Hebrews chapter 12, verse 5. Hebrews 12:15. See to it that no one fails to obtain the grace of God, that no root of bitterness springs up and causes trouble, and through it may become defiled. So he's talking about how to be in peace and in community. See to it that no one fails to obtain the grace of God. How do people obtain the grace of God? Through you. See to it that no one around you fails to receive God's grace because you have withheld it. Maybe other people withhold it, but see that no one fails to attain it because you refuse to withhold that grace of God, to make sure that everyone around you gets that grace. So you're filled with God's grace. You have all kinds of gifts. Your job is to use those gifts to make sure that everyone around you so too can be filled with God's grace. I pray today that you feel filled with God's grace. And I pray today that you see opportunities to be a good steward of that grace. God bless. Have a great day.